Hey you guys, happy Saturday evening. I am coming with a video. I'm so glad that I'm actually taking the time to do this. Like I said, one of my resolutions for the year is to follow through. So that's what I'm doing tonight. So I'm just gonna jump right into it. Fitness wise. So for all of these videos, I want to touch on fitness and then another subject just to, keep things fresh. So fitness first. So this year, my long-term goal is to lose a minimum of 60 pounds. Ideally, I would like for it to be 80, but I don't know how that much weight or how that much weight loss will look on my body frame. In undergrad, which is has been a decade, or gosh, it's been actually 12 years now from my freshman year of undergrad, which is disgusting to say. It's weird to think about it that way, but in my undergrad days, I was had a very distinct hourglass kind of shape, and but then again, I feel like I also went through like a late puberty, so I don't know how much of between the accident that I had and late onset puberty and all those things affected my body or whatever. But as you get older, especially women, your body's going to change. We get older, our metabolism slows down, all sorts of things. So I'm learning my body in its current state in where I want it to go down the line. But anyway, that's the long-term goal. Stomach is like a huge problem area for me. Part of it is, or a lot of it is stress related, a lot of cortisol. But I don't want to use that as an excuse. I still want it gone. And later, not in this video, but later in another video, I'll be doing a 360 to show you guys kind of where my problem areas are. Unfortunately, I am not brave enough yet to share my current weight in pounds right now. So I will get there. I'm just not brave enough yet. One of my insecurities. Anyway, so stomach is my biggest area that I want to handle, because I know I have an hourglass shape. I already know I'm gonna have thighs, and my lower body is gonna be a little more shapely, but I still want to tone up. I still want to, I don't want to be rock hard, but I want to be firm. Nobody, at least I don't like the look of jiggle and moving around and all that stuff everywhere. It's just not my thing. So those are the two biggest things. My arms and my shoulders, like my shoulders up is kind of defining themselves right now. So I'm excited about that, but I'm not too worried about my upper body. My arms define or get definition pretty quickly, and my chest area too. I do want my collarbone to come out a little bit more, just because it's just one of those superficial things that I really actually like on a smaller frame. So those are the long-term goals. 65 pounds minimum. Ultimate goal is 80. I'm currently doing a fitness program for 6 weeks. Last week was week 1, so we have 5 more weeks. And we did our weigh-in and our fitness test, which we do a fitness test every Friday. But for the first week, I'm down 3.8 pounds. Small victory, but it's a victory for me. So I'm super excited. I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I did not eat healthy today. I do like volunteer work, and afterwards I knew I was gonna be tired, and I was, and I just didn't feel like cooking, but that's not an excuse. So from now until the evening, I'm not going to be eating anything else. I have a smoothie that I need to finish up, but that's really it. It's going to be water and hot tea or lemon water or whatever until I go to bed tonight. When I was in when I was in graduate school, the earlier part of graduate school, I didn't realize that this is what I was doing, but I was doing intermittent fasting. I remember when I was an undergraduate that I had met a woman who was an adult student in the College of Music, and she looked fabulous. I mean, she looked great. And so back then, now mind you, back then I didn't have any weight issues, but we were just talking about, you know, health and all of those things, because a lot of people in our class did not believe her that she was as old as she was. And so she said one of the things for her is that she stopped eating food after 5 p.m. Like 5 p.m. was her cutoff day. So for some reason I remembered that in my days as a graduate student. And I guess between that and being really consistent on my on exercise, I mean, I was really taking off the pounds. So much so that I didn't realize it at the time until I saw a picture of myself, and I thought, oh wow, so I am putting in the work. Or the work that I'm putting in is paying off. It's showing. So so I'm trying to do that. With that big old story, I'm actually trying to do that now. I'm actually using an app, and they give you different levels of fasting, or different variations, if you will, of fasting and of intermittent fasting. And I'm doing the 16-8, so 16 hours 16 hours fasting, 8 hours feeding. And obviously today I did start I was compliant in the time window, but the calories I already know they're shot. I will be making up for it as much as I can between now and the rest of the weekend, so that I hopefully have not eaten up, no pun intended, my results so far. So that's kind of where I am with that. So fitness is going to be a really big thing for me this year. I'm just tired of trying to do life in spite of the weight. I don't want weight to rule my life, but it is going to be priority. It's going to be one of my biggest priorities, because as long as I've been overweight, which will be about, I would say 7 years, but it's probably closer to 8 now, which is crazy. As long as I have been overweight, I'm still not used to it. I'm still very uncomfortable in my own body, and I just don't want it to be like that anymore. I did not realize how much mental and emotional freedom I had until I didn't have it anymore. And I wasn't a person, I've never been a person to flaunt my body or anything like that, but it was just, I didn't have to worry about certain things that I do now, or I didn't have to deal with certain physical limitations that I do now. Like my right knee, yes, it was jacked in the accident, but if I didn't have so much weight on, or pressure from excess weight on my knee, I wouldn't feel it as much, and then I wouldn't be daily reminded of my weight all the time, or things like that. So I'm just kind of over it, and I'm not gonna let stuff stand in my way. It is going to happen. So that is kind of where I am as far as that's concerned. Obviously it is a 6-week program that I'm starting the year off with. It's not going to be the only thing, obviously. I'm just gonna keep going with more programs, more goals, and go from there. I do have something that I want to talk about, speaking of fitness, but I'm going to let that be on another video. But it is in February, and I'm super excited. I'm super nervous because I know I'm just, anyway, yeah, so that'll be probably not next video, but the video after. All right, so that's kind of the fitness thing. Now, subject number 2. I was trying to figure out what I was going to talk about before I got on the video, or before I started this video, but now I'm kind of at a loss. So I will talk about I'll just talk about singlehood. So we live in a society that celebrates singlehood, but in a very skewed way. And it's interesting to me because the more we celebrate singlehood and, you know, living it up and, you know, not having the old ball and chain and, you know, all that stuff is really interesting. Like, the older I get and the more I talk to my counterparts and my girlfriends and, you know, other people in my age range or people who are also single, it's like the more you talk to those people, the more I realize that a lot of it is just a front. You know, a lot of people just, you know, I don't know if it's like societal peer pressure or something where a lot of people just feel like, you know, everybody is just about the, you know, oh, I don't need a man, I don't need a woman, blah, 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 blah. So now I have to, you know, I have to project that onto myself as well. I don't know what it is, but I thought I was kind of the minority when I finally got to a point that I could admit to myself that eventually I want more. But apparently not. Apparently a lot of people are in that same boat. So it was just really, it was comforting in a strange way because I don't want anybody, you know, to be, you know, miserable, but it was comforting in a way that like, oh, maybe humanity is not completely lost or something like that. So I will say that, you know, I'm not in a space right now that I could see myself, you know, taking on a relationship or marriage in like the next year or two. But it's something that I definitely want to work towards. And I want to be very intentional about it once I get to that point. I'd say that with everything that I want to work on for myself, like self-development and self-growth and self-improvement, fitness-wise, personal development-wise, working through social anxiety and a lot of other things. Again, that will be talked about in another video. Figuring out more about my own character and just doing more living than existing. I think as I do more of that and kind of not solidify, but just as it becomes more second nature to me, then I think that I'll have more mental and emotional space to kind of gingerly peek out and, you know, just kind of look around. But I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I am to the point where I am kind of tired of being my own man and woman. Now, don't misconstrue that what I just said. I will explain. That has nothing to do with sexuality or anything like that, because I've gotten some kind of like weird looks when I've said that to other people or, you know, friends, girlfriends that I've talked to about it. What I mean is that I am getting to the point where I would really appreciate someone else being in my corner emotionally and spiritually. I'm very independent. I take care of myself 100%. I don't come from stock that is used to handouts or anything like that. So that's not the issue for me, but I am getting to a point where I see the value of having a partner in life. You know, when I think of marriage, I think of marriage as something that is another step in a person's life to fulfill and continue dreams and goals that they otherwise would not be able to do when they're single. And that's kind of where I am now. Like I'm taking care of things, and I can handle my own, but I am getting to a point where I see, like, long term, that having someone in my corner, and vice versa, obviously it wouldn't be just for me, would be beneficial. But thinking about it, I also want to be an asset as well. So that's why I say that I want to do a lot of self work, not just with a marriage mindset, because I would never do something for a man like that, because I fully and wholeheartedly believe in being a full person before you meet someone else. When I don't believe I don't believe in saying or walking in that mind space of he's my other half, she's my other half. No, you should be a full person before you meet your godsend. And I think we see a lot of dysfunctional relationships for that very reason, because a lot of people look for someone else to fill voids in their life that they should have handled before getting into a relationship. So that's not the reason why I want to do a lot of self-improvement. However, I do realize that, when two people come together, they're supposed to enhance the other person's life and vice versa. So I I know that at least what I personally would want to give would require me to do a lot more work. For example, I want to expand my cooking skills. Now, don't get it twisted. I can cook. Okay, I don't do a lot of cooking nowadays quite as much, even though I still cook every week. But I don't do as much cooking nowadays because I'm just so busy, especially now being back in school. Y'all, me stand over a stove every day, like twice a day, not happening. But that doesn't mean that I can't. It's just that I choose not to, so that I can afford myself other time for other things. But with that being said, it doesn't hurt to expand, your expertise. So I want to expand my cooking skills, and I've already made a list of things that I want to either perfect, add, or learn. So that's kind of something that I want to do. How I'm going to fit that in, because my schedule is very crazy right now, I don't know, not yet. So we will see. But it is definitely a goal of mine. So that's one thing. Fitness, I've already talked about that. Financial literacy, that is another big thing for me. I want to learn about stocks. I want to learn about investing. I want to learn about CDs. I want to learn about 401ks. I want to do all of that. Again, all of these things that I'm talking about are for me first and foremost, because in the event that someone does it for a future wife or a future husband, God forbid if that future husband or wife doesn't come for another 10, 15, 20 years, if that's what is in God's plan for you, and you're pining for someone who can sometimes feel like a lifetime away, then you're up a creek without a paddle. So all of these things that I'm mentioning to you all, it's self-improvement for me first. It just happens to, grow my stock a little bit if I have these areas for me down pat, because I would then be able to extend those same gifts and talents to my husband. So financial literacy, mastering fitness, expanding my cooking skills. I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but those are some of the things I'm going to be working on. Based on the goals that I have, as you can imagine, these are not going to be just for the new year. These are long-term goals. However, I do want to see a lot of progress within these next 2 years. So I say year resolution, but honestly, what I am trying to do is really probably going to take me about 2 years to really feel like, oh yeah, okay, I like this. So that's kind of where that is. If you all are thinking, oh, that sounds kind of old-fashioned when it comes to cooking and things like that, I'll admit, yes, I am kind of a traditionalist when it comes to relationships. I grew up in a traditional setting where, you know, the breadwinner was on the paternal side, the homemaking was on the maternal side. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in women's rights and, you know, women working or being in the workplace and all that stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But I like traditional aspects. Okay, we're not gonna take it all the way back to 1942. Okay, so yeah, but I do like some traditionalism, and if I want certain traditional aspects in my husband, I want to be able to contribute some sort of traditional aspects as a wife on my end. So yeah, so more on that, you know, down the road. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on my transitions, y'all, or maybe write stuff down beforehand. I don't know. I was going to, but then I decided to just dive right into it. As you all can tell, I was definitely in self-care mode. I was about to do a face mask. I already took my braids out and all that, but I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and make a video. So yeah. Yeah, I think that's all I'm going to talk about tonight. I'll talk more about singlehood and just all sorts of stuff. Anyway, that's it. Let me know if y'all have any questions. If y'all want me to touch on something else or whatever, let me know. If y'all want to, you know, jump in and give your opinion about something or whatever, go for it. And we will just go from there. I'm gonna stop trying to say so much. Next video will be about my third go round in school, because I mentioned in the past video, not the latest impromptu video, but the first initial video that I did since coming back, that I am back in school. So I want to share with you guys the story behind all of that, and then hopefully I will have another update for you guys as far as more weight loss. So y'all stay tuned, and I will talk to y'all later. All right, enjoy y'all's weekend. Bye.